How's it going?
Good morning. All right. Well, I'm in Scarbados, and today
Oh,
it's living up to its name.
show the guys the view.
Okay, there we go. There's the view. There's the bay. Oh, can we see it? There's the bay. There's our famous Scarborough Castle.
Yeah, nice. That is really really beautiful. To be fair.
Well, yeah, I feel obviously well, actually, I wasn't too bad, but growing up, kind of living if you live in a seaside town or a small town, people kind of want to get away, and then when you get a bit older, you actually realise the benefit of being somewhere where just on a not all the time, but on a few days a year like this, and you think, oh, you appreciate where you live.
Exactly the same. Because obviously I'm down in Portsmouth, and it gets a bit busy in the summer, but it's beautiful. Down there last night until I don't know about 7:30. Loads of people out and about enjoying themselves, and yeah, it's just lovely. So finally,
Good.
summer's here. Right, should we roll in?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, guys. So, episode 27, we're going to talk about how you can earn more money by prioritizing your health, be happier, and feel great by focusing on certain areas. So we'll give you some areas to focus on, maybe some stuff to think about. I reckon that's what we like to do.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes people don't connect their health to earning more, to actually being able to earn more money and being successful at work. And sometimes that connection isn't there.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I wonder. We'll get into it, but I wonder if people do know that deep down. I wonder, but they're busy. So yeah, we'll give you some insights, our thoughts on it, some action points, and basically go from there. As always, likes, comments, shares are appreciated. And any questions, we'll do a live and cover them basically. All right. So should we start off with the earn more money, because that's the first point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny enough. I mean, we all know we discussed this before the call. That a client of mine, Roger, at the moment, it's kind of what we're talking about now is attaching health to something that actually is really important to him. And he started a business himself. He's been really successful, but to get to the next level, he has to be on it, and he has to push the business. He has to push himself, and he knows that when he's feeling good, he's got more energy, and he can turn up at work and he can inspire his workforce and do it. So it's a matter of connecting. We're connecting the health to that side of the business to not motivate him, but actually give him a real deep why as to why we're going to do all the stuff that we want to do. And actually, when he says, I'm going to do this workout, or this week I'm going to work on this in my health, it's not just health. It's because I've got this really ambitious target with my business.
Yeah.
And that's the why that underpins it.
Yeah, I like to think of it's sort of kind of like scrapping motivation, because it's finite, more like inspiration, and that could be finite as well a little bit. But I think if you're getting up and you're feeling inspired for the day, you've got that bit of fire in your belly, because like your guy who's what needs to be the best, to get the best out of him for the business to move forward, to I don't know, build the business. He's obviously realised that he needs to be his best, better energy, I guess, better food quality to perform at his best, improve your sleep, improve all those areas. But yeah, I think sometimes people don't necessarily connect the two, but sometimes they do though, because I'm sure you've had the exact same thing. I sometimes get a message, and when we delve into it, I say, oh, what are you doing this for? I'm actually starting a new role soon. I'm starting a new role soon, and I've realised I need to bring my best self to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we were talking about last week, Roger and I, and it was like, what if we could if we work on these things in our health, could we realistically say that we could get a 5% increase in fitness? And he's like, well, yeah. So if you had a 5% increase in the energy, so what would that mean? Well, I could do this, and this. And so in your work, if you had a 5% increase in your ability to work a bit harder, or be more efficient, or be a bit more on it, and not procrastinate, and get more done, what would a 5% increase in your ability to do your work mean? And then could that increase your business revenue? And actually a 5% increase in his business revenue is huge. And actually that's all he needs to actually make the goals for his business. And it's like something goes off in your brain, doesn't it? And it goes,
Body drops.
I'm like, wow. yeah, if I do this and I can increase my energy by 5%, which is pessimistic increase.
Yeah, that's lowballing, isn't it? Really, let's be honest.
Exactly. It's about, yeah, exactly. It's lowballing it because obviously it's going to get more than that, but it's saying, right, if we just get that tiny bit, what do you think? And then so when during the week when he's maybe the motivation, like you said, is not there to do the stuff, it's like, but actually, if I get a 5% increase in this, I'm going to absolutely boss my targets at work.
And by the way, I think energy is everything as well. We've spoken about it so much. If your energy's low because you're not sleeping well, your food's rubbish, you're not moving your body, you're going to struggle with everything. I literally can't emphasize this enough. You're never going to choose the healthy option. You're never going to get to the gym. You're never going to get your steps in. That guy you're talking about is never going to get that extra 5%. He's never going to like get his business to where he wants to. Because, let's go back to our first coach. Like Tim always used to say, you'll always be the limitation to your business.
Yeah.
And it's 100% true. So if your energy's low, you're not even performing. I don't even reckon that you're performing at 50% your best if you've got poor energy.
Yeah. Well, we know that. Like, we know that if you haven't slept well and you get up and you're like, oh, you get to the office and you're already, even at the start of the day, you're thinking, you know what, I've got another 8, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is.
And you got no chance of being inspired.
No. And instantly, like when you were talking about like energy, the thing that popped in my head was the decision fatigue. When you have to make lots of decisions in your work, and you need energy to make those decisions, and you get to a point where you can only make so many decisions, and then you've reached your barrier. And if your decision fatigue is like low, then you're going to not be making the right decisions, or you're going to be too slow, or you're going to procrastinate. Whereas if your energy is high, you're just going to be like, snap, snap, snap. This is the right decision. Let's go. And then in business, as anybody watching this who's in business knows that actually the most successful ones are the ones that make the decisions quickly.
Yeah, because it could cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And time's important in business as well. Do you want to move through your business quickly, making the right decisions, or do you want to move through your business slowly because you're making the wrong decisions? You can make a wrong decision that can set your business back weeks or potentially months to undo it. But you're much more likely to make the wrong decision if your energy's low and you've not slept very well and you're eating terrible foods. Because they talk about that brain fog. A lot of people, and again, I'm sure you've had clients exactly the same, that in the first week they go, oh yeah, I've got that brain fog, and then suddenly, and this is one of the easiest things you can do, you hydrate, and then within a week that brain fog clears.
Oh, exactly. Well, I know the last few days when it's been warmer, there's been a few days where I definitely haven't drank enough water, and I've got to the end of the day, and not only brain fog, I got a headache, and I'm the only reason is because I've had a few coffees, and then the day's run away with me. It's been hot, and then I get to the end of the evening, and I've barely drunk any water. And it's like, Tom, come on, you should know better than this. And then so it's right, okay, back on it. Next day, let's get a plan in place. Make sure I'm hydrating. Make sure I'm tracking it.
Yeah. This is especially right now with the heat we've got. It's absolutely fundamental. It is anyway, but I think sometimes, hey Tim, I think sometimes. When it's just a normal sort of like winter, people I think it's just a priority. It's like anything, if you really wanted to do it, you'd do it, wouldn't you? I
think because we live in quite a temperate, generalized, I think English people generally we're not very good at hydrating. I think because we live in like generally a wet place that's not very warm, I think. Whereas when I go on holiday, half the time I've got a bottle of water with me all the time. So if I'm going to Spain in July, and I will have a bottle of water to hand all the time because I'll be like, oh, it's hot, I need to do it. Whereas when I'm back home, we don't do the same, and I see it with a lot of people that I speak to, and a lot of people that I see in the office or wherever it is that it's just not a natural thing. So maybe we just need to learn it if we haven't learned it. My parents lived off tea. I don't think I ever saw my dad drink a glass of water ever.
Yeah, my dad doesn't now. Literally never does, unless maybe he's woke up with a little bit of a sore head. He might have like half a glass. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this. He is on Facebook. All right. So yeah, look. Basically, what we're trying to say is today that prioritizing your health can massively push your business forwards, but not just business. Relationships with maybe your kids and your wife or partner, because no, when you're prioritizing your health, you're reducing stress. Like there's no one that trains in the gym that's stressed out, are they? Because you know when you're lifting a weight above your head, you're not thinking about the stresses of work and all those things. And I defy anyone to go into the gym and not come out feeling better. So you're raising your mood, aren't
exactly.
you?
And even if you and if you like, you always get your mood raised. So if you go into the gym and you're already feeling good, your mood's only going to go up a little bit. But if you go into the gym and you're not feeling particularly good, you're not feeling particularly motivated, the difference is actually massive. You go in not feeling great, and actually you come out going, do you know what? I'm so glad that I did that. I feel like my body feels better. I've got that kind of slightly nice, achy feeling that I know that my body likes because it's been work.
Yeah.
And my head's kind of in a better place. And yeah, I hear it all the time, every day, probably every week, definitely. I went to the gym. I need to remember how good I feel afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that if you can get it in early, whether it's the gym, a walk, a home workout, because that sets you up for the day. And I've always trained in the morning. It's always just been my preference. And if I don't, there is a big difference between my day. Even like yesterday, I didn't train yesterday, but I had quite a busy day before I did train. But I noticed my energy levels and my mood as well. I noticed my mood wasn't as high as I'd like as I'd want it. And the difference between yesterday and today is I trained today and my mood's fucking great. Sorry for the swear words early. Not that it matters what time of day it is. But you know, my mood's different. I know my focus is different. My ideas are better. You know, I'm getting my brain just gets going so much more. So I always say, you know, if you can train in the morning or get your steps in or get out of the house, home workout, whatever that looks like, move the body in the morning, and that'd make a huge difference. If we're talking about work and looking at key areas, like move your body in the morning, you'll feel so good for it.
Exactly. And also the early morning is when you can actually control it. You've got a much better chance of controlling it. Once the day gets going, things happen and you can't really control those things. And so if you do it early, it means it might have, like, I don't know, before, if you've got kids, before the kids get up, 10 minutes of a workout is done. Because I certainly know that if the moment my family is up, that is, I am in family.
You're going to be struggling, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then again, you know, if you go back to that, I think people can do it. I think people can get up a bit earlier than their kids. But what might be a struggle is if you're not sleeping well. You know, and all these things have this knock-on effect. And they're like, well, I'm not suddenly going to go to sleep at, say, 9 and get up at 6 so I can have that half an hour or an hour before the kids go up because I'm knackered already, right? So it's like, well, you're going to have to figure out that sleep problem. We've done a live on sleep, you know. And then if you're getting good quality sleep, you probably are going to be able to get up at like 6 or 7 and feel not motivated, inspired to do that work. And then when you go, again, a level deeper, like your client's saying, is like, I've got to do this. I've got to, because I know that's going to make me the best for today, and that's going to push my business forward, which is good for my family, which is good for my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes back to that why, isn't it? When you, again, with speaking to somebody and they'll say, well, I know I've got to sort my sleep out. I know I should be getting to bed earlier. I know what to do for my route. I know a routine towards bed is a good idea. I know I should be putting my phone down. I know I shouldn't be answering work emails at 9 p.m. All this stuff we know, and then it's a matter of going, well, why aren't I doing it? Well, you haven't got a big enough reason not to do it. And if you've got ambitious goals for your work, again, tie it in with that and go. So when you've sat there at 9 o'clock and you're going to put another Netflix whatever on, or you're going to go on to the next one, because you've noticed all streaming channels now have a automatic to the next show because they've worked out that the human.
Yeah, and you sat there and you're like flipping out. I've just watched 5 episodes of, I don't know, Dexter or Breaking Bad or whatever.
Exactly. So if you tie it in and go, do you know what? It's important. That might sound a bit odd. It's in me not watching the show and getting to bed early is actually one of the indicator behaviors of me being more successful at work. And then that little thing goes off in your head, goes, you know what? Come on, Tom, off to bed.
Discipline, isn't it? Yeah. Discipline at the end of the day, but also having a bit of a game plan, because people want to make these changes, but they don't necessarily have a game plan in place to actually like make the changes. It's funny actually because I got a phone call. It was literally about this time last year because I remember I was traveling to go to a festival, And I'm not going to mention his name because he wanted to keep it anonymous, but he phoned me up and he was like, I just wanted to update you on something. And I was like, all right, cool. What happened? And he went, when we was coaching, we talked a little bit about career, and I was really unhappy with where I was working and didn't really know what to do. I applied for a job and I was like, oh yeah. He went, yeah, I've got it. 10 grand a year pay rise.
Right.
10 grand a year pay rise. So if he stays there for the next 10 years, he's earned an extra 100 grand. Yeah. And that all come from him having more energy, prioritizing his health, getting a bit fitter, because he was then ready to take on those challenges. He had a bit of a clear mind to go. And by the way, it maybe did take a bit of coaching though to like look at like where he was in terms of like career and what he wanted to do, and applied for a job, got a job, and yeah, now he's earning an extra 10 grand a year.
Yeah, and all related to the healthy habits that you would have instilled about kind of looking after his body. Again, starting off with health, but actually turning it into this other thing. And actually then suddenly it's not just about, I want to be a little bit healthier. It's actually, if I do this, I earn £100,000 more.
Potentially, this dude did. And, I'm sure you've had some awesome clients too. I've had people that have started a business, got their next career progression into like a director at their companies. And that's just business, like so many other things in terms of like family and, being a better role model. There's hundreds of wins, I'm sure me and you could share. But again, I think it just comes down to, I think maybe taking a step back and saying to yourself, and this has got, by the way, guys, something you can definitely go and do. Maybe taking a step back and going, like, what do I really want? Or maybe again, who do I want to be? Because I think what happens is, especially for men, I think they get so caught up in work, career, building the business. And I've had guys, and when we've talked about it, they've realised that their marriage broke down because they work too much. And it's like, well, what's the most important thing in most men's life? If they're married and they've got kids, they'll say married and kids. Yet they work so much that their marriages potentially break down. And then maybe they don't see their kids as much. To me, I'm just like, and by the way, it's not easy, it's tough. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all. You've prioritized work over your family and wife. And they've basically got to the point where they've got fed up. And by the way, did you know that 75% of divorces are instigated by women?
Right. Didn't know that.
Yeah, 75% of divorces are instigated by women.
Right.
Well, let's not get into that though,
No. Well, I know you do a similar thing. The DeMartini exercise that we do with our clients at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that again, it's I don't know if someone doesn't know what it is. Basically, it's looking at your highest values in life, and you go through lots of questions, and then we would go through it and look at it and see what people value. And very often, it's all work. It's like work.
Yeah.
And the client would go, I read it back, and my family barely register, and my health isn't there at all. And it's like, oh God, is this all I am? Is this the most? I assume the most important thing in my life was my kids. Why are they not actually registering in my life? And it's like, do you know what? I need to sort that out. And then you tie that into health and go, do you know what? If you're healthier, how can you be a better dad? If you're healthier, how can you do this? Can you be around longer? Can you be more? Can you have more energy? Can you actually be better? And it's a matter of kind of raising that awareness and thinking, right, what am I doing? And you're right. It's the most important thing is my family. Okay, then why are you working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week? And why have you done that for 10 years?
And I was literally listening to the Jake Humphrey podcast, it's a high performance podcast. And he basically says something at the beginning. He says something around health being like the most important things. He's like, you can have the career. He says money first. He's like, you can have the money, but if you're not healthy, you can't enjoy it. And you can have, again, the money, but if you're not, you can have the career, but if you're, again, just working all the time, you don't have your health, you can't enjoy it. And he says, you've got your family, but if you haven't got your health, you can't enjoy them as well. And that really resonated. He talks about that literally the first sort of like 30 seconds. He's like, health is the most important thing, and yeah, like I said, that just resonated. And it's just that little bit of a reminder that, what are you doing all this for if you are doing 60, 70, 80 hours in a week, not seeing your friends, not seeing your family. You know, what's the end goal? By the way, I think some of this can come back to like childhood, maybe trauma if they didn't get stuff when they were young, or sometimes people.
For example,
points.
I can say if our fathers were, our fathers probably our most influence on us in our lives. If we've got our fathers and they're still around,
yeah.
If we watched them go out to work and we didn't see them, then that's how we learn to be men when we're older. This is what a man is.
Yeah, by the way, I think to make it clear, we're not saying don't go out and work hard. I think it's important. I think it's a really good characteristic to work hard. But maybe look at, I like doing this. I can't remember what book it's from. I always get these things, but I always forget the book. It basically, it might have been Mo Gaudet's Soul for Happy. And he says, write down 10 things you love doing. And then look at how often do you actually do them. So you write down these 10 things, then you look over a week and you go, these are the 10 things I love doing. How often are you doing them? And if you've probably got 7 or 8, you're probably doing like really well. But if you've got like 1 or 2, then if we link the happiness, you're doing 2 out of 10 things that you love doing that make you happy. You're probably not going to be that very happy, are you? Right?
Yeah. And again, it's raising the awareness and going, I like your idea of actually saying, what kind of life do I want? And it's related to saying, what do I actually want for my life? And when you were talking then, I was a minute ago, I was thinking about it's similar to retirement. I'm going to work so hard, and I'm not going to see because it's important. I'm not going to see my family very much. I'm going to work really hard, and then at 60, I'm going to retire and I'm going to enjoy life. But then you've the experience and the journey and all that stuff, that's gone, and you haven't enjoyed it as you go along.
Plus, you're going to struggle to enjoy your retirement if you haven't got your health.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I've never met anybody that wishes they were less healthy to have more money. I don't think I've never met anyone say that. Say I really wish it. As someone who's really fit and healthy, look after themselves, I don't think they would sell part of that. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a shift.
Yeah, I think if we go back to like what we said here as well, like, be happier. I think what you got to look at is like, what does looking after your health, maybe looking after your longevity actually encapsulate? And I think it's probably more than just health, because I think, when you're less stressed, when you're got more energy, when your mood's higher, you're bound to be happier, aren't you? When the household's calmer, because you're able to deal with all these things. I think it's easy to go, oh, you'll be happier, but it's true. There's a reason, if you're tired all the time, if your energy's low, if you're not eating well, if you've got that brain fog, there's no way you're going to be as happy as, and by the way, you can't always be happy. So maybe it's like more moments of joy, more doing things that you love doing. Like if you wrote that list of like 10 things. But I think sometimes, I don't know, I think maybe just like people just get so busy with the life and the stresses of life that, maybe it takes the doctor, or even stronger, like a semi-mild heart attack or stroke or something like that literally like being punched in the face to go, F me, I need to do something now.
Yeah.
Why let it get that far?
Exactly. Well, how often how often do I hear people say, I think I just need something big to happen for me to sort this out? And they'll say it like half jokingly. But then you're right. If you actually honestly have that conversation with yourself and go, am I really waiting for something bad? Why would I do that? And again, it's a matter of going, there's nothing rational about that decision. It's not a rational thing. And it's going, okay, what can I do about that? So if anybody has ever said that, I think I need something bad to happen, then just take a moment and sit with that question and maybe use that as a bit of a catalyst. Okay, do you know what?
Imagine that was your child saying that.
Yeah.
All right, son. So you want to make some changes, maybe, because it can happen, your kids maybe pick up your influence, and you go, oh yeah, I'm just gonna wait for something bad to happen. It's crazy. It's way easier to climb a mountain halfway up than it is, like right at the bottom. All right. So just to go on this as well, like there's been a lot of studies, and again, I know we going back to happiness. I think people want to feel better, and most people would like to be happier, right? They've actually done studies, and they say that people that prioritize their health are actually happier. Right. And I think it goes back to those reasons of less. We're going to reduce your stress because you're doing, exercise makes you feel good, releases all those endorphins. It all ties in. Moods lifted. So yeah, there's it's not just us saying this. There's studies to support, because I always think you've got you can't just come on and just talk about it. I think there needs to be data and studies to like back things up. But I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think so. And I guess the three things we mentioned about doing is, I think, simple things: hydration, sleep, and tying you fixing this into a why.
Yeah,
sitting down, like all those things you mentioned about. Maybe writing those 10 things you
like. Can we put a link to the DeMartinis in this?
Oh yeah, we could put a link in the comment. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That can be really impactful when you literally find out actually what your highest values are and go, am I actually living towards these or in line with these? Because it has to be aligned. Because again, and DeMartini talks about this. If you're not aligned with your values, you're going to feel slightly off, and you're not really going to be able to put your foot on why.
Yeah.
All right, let's. We said some key areas to focus on. So, just actually quickly before we get on that, the other thing that I don't know if you know, Tom, as well. Like they spoke to the FTSE, like is it FTSE 500, the top companies, and there's one thing that they all have in common. There's literally one thing, and do you know what it is?
What is it?
They all regularly exercise.
Right.
It's a part of their priorities.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
It's the one thing that they all have in common. It's not like the working hard and different backgrounds, all these things. It's like they all prioritize exercise.
And again,
right.
taking that an example and just going, do you know what? If it's good enough for them, it must be good enough for me.
Yeah. All right. So key areas. Should we do one each?
Yeah. Can we go first?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's just talk about the one that I've literally just said, like exercise. People want more energy. The only way to get more energy is to move your body. It's literally the only way. You're never going to sit on the sofa or sit watching more Netflix, and that makes you more tired. I had a day at the beach the other day, knackered. All I did is laze around doing nothing. So that's what happens. You're doing that day in, day out, recovering at the weekends on the sofa, too tired to get out. You're always going to be tired. So exercise, and that doesn't have to be the gym. It can be anything. YouTube's I can't emphasize enough. Move your body.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Like you mentioned, going for a walk in the morning. Go for a walk and find a hill. Walk up the hill as fast as you can, a few times.
Yeah.
Again, if you live somewhere nice like me, we've got countryside. That gets your heart rate up, and you get to the top of the hill, and you always feel better. And yeah, it's maybe a bit counterintuitive sometimes when you're just starting out, but you will get more energy from expending it.
100%. Yeah, so it might be hard the first week or two, but then you got to push through that, and that's when you notice the real benefits. All right, your turn.
I think water. I think again, we've ran this home a lot, don't we? It's hydration, and majority of our country and population spend their entire existence dehydrated, entire existence, and it's related to how your body functions. It's related to brain fog. Again, if we're talking about making decisions and being successful at work, you can't have your brain even 10% foggy if you want to be performing at your best. So again, it's a matter of prioritizing it, tying it in. I'm going to drink 2 liters of water a day, because if I don't, I'm not going to meet this business target. And then it's more important than just Tom and Michael have told me to drink water and the government.
Emotions. But I think though, I think the thing is, once you've done that first week of drinking water, you notice the benefits. It can go up and down as well. And I have clients that are 6, 7, 8 weeks into the program, and I say what's going on, and we delve into it, and they go, actually, my energy was a bit low. Okay, what happened? How was your water? It was a bit low today. Okay, that's something to focus on. My next one would be nutrition.
Yeah.
What we put into our bodies is so fundamental, and we're so busy. So people have such a high processed food diet nowadays. It's just basically full of crap. Whereas, you know, if you spoke to people, how often do you get your 5 a day fruit and veg in, which gives you all your antioxidants, all your vitamins, all your minerals, all the stuff that makes you feel good energy wise. I don't know what the percentage would be, but I would lay good money that it'd be low. So yeah, nutrition 100% would be.
You know where the 5 a day came from?
Yeah, he said. Yeah, was it a Japanese thing? They just
No, it's a government thing. It's like studies. There's lots of studies.
The Japanese thing was a 10,000 steps, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a pedometer or something. But the 5 a day, basically, what you should consume is a lot more. But basically, the government decided that what realistic, low achievable target could the English population possibly achieve? So they chose 5. And actually, most countries around the world it's higher. But that was the government's low estimation of the English population of how well we could do it. So again, think about that 5. It's the actual process of eating 5 pieces of fruit and veg a day is actually really, really simple. And I think everybody here can think, I can pick up a carrot, I can pick up an apple, a banana, a few grapes, and a bit of cucumber, and just eat it. And if you did it all in one go, it would probably take you about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it all goes back to that energy, though, because again, if you're not going to energy, you're not going to make that choice. You're not going to go and prepare things. You're not going to do the healthy food shop. You're not going to not walk down that aisle that's got all the tempting foods.
All in fantastic packaging that's been designed by people that basically they've got psychologists who've designed the packaging to make sure that you want to buy that thing, whereas the slightly maybe boring looking carrot is just sat there going, "I'm fantastic."
You think carrots would sell more if they were in a nice, appealing packaging?
Probably. I don't know, but it's again,
right, the short one, and then we'll wrap up. So we've done over half an hour this morning. That's because we love doing this.
Let's leave it. I think exercise, water, and get your 5 a day in, and just take that leap of faith. If it's good enough for those FTSE 100 guys, it's definitely good enough for us.
Yeah, I think it's just to wrap up. Sometimes, you know, it's at some point it's got to be time to call yourself out on your own BS, isn't it? When you're going, I'm too busy, because you know at some point we're all getting older, aren't we? You know, you're all basically moving towards an expiry date, aren't we? You know, and it's like, you know, do you want to move really quickly by not looking after your health and not, you know, eating good foods, or do you want to move relatively slowly? And then when you get to that time, when you've got that time and you've got the freedom of retirement, how do you want to spend that time? You know, because, you know, you have those weekends away and those hot countries, they're hard work, aren't they? Yeah. You know, you do so many steps. Like, do you want to actually be able to enjoy those, or do you want to not, you know?
Yeah. And that's tying it into a really important why.
Nice. All right, let's wrap up there. So guys, as always, like, you know, we appreciate any feedback, any questions. We're happy if you do have a question to cover these, and any likes, comments, and shares. It genuinely does go a long way. But yeah, episode 27. It's a wrap.
Cheers, Michael.
All right. Cheers, dude. Cheers, guys. Yeah. Speak soon.